Hey everyone, Harris O'Malley from DrNerdLove.com. Have you ever noticed how often that we will brush off a compliment, but a negative comment will stick with us for hours, days, even months, sometimes even years? What, like you don't remember exactly what Allison said to you in the 7th grade after you just asked her out for the dance? No? Just me? It's easy to brush off a compliment as not being real or meaningful. If it's coming from a stranger, then they don't even know you. It's just part of the PC feel-good hug box brigade. It's just polite bullshit that people say because we're all expected to blow smoke up each other's asses. If it's from a friend or a family member, though, well, they pretty much have to say it, right? It doesn't actually mean anything. On the other hand, negative comments land harder and stick with you longer. They provoke a much stronger reaction. This hits us on multiple levels. It's part of why so many books and articles have vaguely sinister or negative titles and headlines. It's why the news often goes with a "if it bleeds, it leads" philosophy, and why so many political and internet grifters monetize anger and hate. In a world of any sort of engagement is good algorithm, videos with more negative titles often get more of a response than positive ones. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering just what any of this has to do with the subject of this week's episode. And the answer is that these are all symptoms of the same problem. These are all part of the reason why your love life isn't getting any better. Negative comments and emotions feel more legitimate, more real. And because it feels more authentic, people will actually go seeking out negative responses even when they know it'll hurt them. Case in point, that's why I gave this episode its particular title. In fact, the idea that you can't or won't improve, sexually, socially, or otherwise, is probably a big part of why you clicked on this video. For some of you, you wanted answers, an idea of what it is that you're doing wrong. Others, though, we're looking for confirmation. They want someone to tell them that they suck and that they're never ever going to get better. People will post in various subreddits, forums, and online communities knowing that they're going to get roasted. The goal is to draw negative attention to them. This is often specifically about getting brutally honest reactions, except what they're actually looking for is the brutality. They want the unvarnished and unconstructive feedback because they want the pain. So, why in pluperfect hell would someone do this to themselves? The answer is because it feels like you're finally hearing the truth. It's thrilling. There's a perverse rush to be had when you feel like you're peeling back the socially mandated PC nice bullshit and getting confirmation that your own biases, self-loathing, and anxieties are in fact correct. It feels like you're achieving a deeper truth. You're finally seeing the matrix and getting to reality instead of the polite fiction being told to spare your feelings. It's what ContraPoints calls masochistic epistemology. Whatever hurts is true, and it's true because it hurts. And in a very real way, it serves as a form of emotional self-harm, the digital equivalent of cutting. There is a release that comes with the pain and a feeling that you are facing down harsh truths that other people can't or won't accept. And we believe those truths more than we believe anything good about ourselves. Now, we are all prone to thinking like this. Humans have an inherent negativity bias, where negative thoughts, emotions, and experiences have a greater impact than positive ones do. When it comes to our brains, negativity outweighs positivity. In fact, it takes 5 positive experiences to equal the impact of a single negative one. This was a useful trait to have 10,000 years ago when recognizing negative stimuli could mean the difference between being, say, eaten by a terror bird or going on to raise a family. But our brains don't see a meaningful difference between the negative stimuli of, "oh shit, that's trying to eat me," and "oh shit, strangers on the internet think I'm hideous." But because of that emotional weight and the release that it can bring, it gets really tempting to wallow in the negative. We believe the negative is more authentic, and men are especially prone to this because we have made pain and negativity a core part of being a man. Like I've said in previous episodes, part of the traditional ideas of what makes a real man is his ability to handle pain and hardship. It's the idea that the more manly you are, the stronger and tougher you are, and if you're a real man, then, well,
pain don't hurt.
We equate going through pain and suffering with discipline and strength, to the point that we seek out or glorify harm and stress in the name of proving that we're real men. We celebrate athletes who are permanently destroying their bodies for playing through the pain because they're warriors. We say that pain is just weakness leaving the body, and that people who work 80, 90, 100 hours a week are dedicated, ambitious, and driven. We make fun of people who complain about hazing or bullying or abuse, telling them to get a thicker skin or insisting that that abuse is just part of the culture and they should get used to it. We mock people who push back or who decide to go get help or who decide to take care of themselves and step away instead of subjecting themselves to even more abuse. And this attitude bleeds into other parts of our lives, like, for example, game developers treating crunch, working insane hours for weeks at a time with little to no overtime pay, as a rite of passage or inevitable or even desirable part of the development process, or that it's proof of how hardcore of a worker you are, even when it demonstrably hurts your productivity and your health and your relationships. Or we do this by indulging in psychological self-harm, looking to strangers to run you down and tell you that you suck. We believe that pain, whether we cause it ourselves or that someone else does it to us, is good. And surprise, surprise, a lot of this attitude comes from our anxieties, that fear and belief that we are softer, weaker, and less manly than before because things don't suck quite as much. I really can't express how unbelievably up that mindset is when you think about it for more than half a second. Things aren't as awful as they used to be, and that's bad. You didn't have to endure as much as other people before you, and that's causing problems in society. You aren't destroying your body or having to work yourself to death the way that your forefathers did, and that makes you less of a man. Somehow. And those beliefs go straight to our anxieties. They play into that negativity bias. They confirm the worst fears in ourselves. So instead of recognizing that maybe those standards are toxic bullshit and things are better than they've ever been before, we look to other ways to prove ourselves, working ourselves to the bone, neglecting our emotional development, ruining our relationships and our health and everything else in the name of trying to overcome this anxiety that maybe we're not real men the way that our fathers were. We get so caught up in this realization of how fragile our masculinity is that constantly proving it becomes the most important thing in our lives, to the point that we can't have breakfast in the morning unless it somehow confirms how manly we are.
El Diablo multi-ton grape pulverizer pulverizes multi-tons of grapes. El Diablo, the world's toughest
That's not a parody. That's from a real commercial. The problem is that the fact that something hurts doesn't make it true or better. Putting up with unnecessary pain doesn't make you stronger. Pain isn't weakness leaving the body. Pain is a sign that something is wrong. Being tough doesn't mean that things don't affect you, or the fact that you can endure it doesn't mean that it's not actually causing you harm. Letting yourself get hurt doesn't mean that you're strong. It means that you're putting up with damage, and that includes mental and emotional damage. Which brings us back to the question, why aren't you going to get any better? Why aren't you able to build the life that you want to live and be the man that you dream about being? And the reason is that the odds are you are more focused on the pain than you are on the progress. It's easier to believe the things that hurt, or that you need to hurt yourself in order to be a man. You aren't doing better because you believe the things that are harming you are more real, more significant, or more meaningful than the things that make you feel better about yourself. It's easier to take harsh truths to heart, even when they aren't actually true, than it is to believe in yourself, to believe in your progress and your ability to grow and improve. It is easier to believe that being a man is something that you can fail at than it is to believe in your own inherent worth and value. It's easier to believe that you're weak if you don't put up with pain or you don't do things that damage you than it is to recognize that pain isn't strength or that breaking yourself to pieces doesn't make you better, more valuable, or more desirable. That is as true with emotional pain as it is with physical pain. The more you suffer doesn't mean the more that you care. The more than you endure doesn't make you better, especially when there's no point in enduring it. There is a difference between discipline and pointless abuse. Putting up with unnecessary bullshit doesn't make you strong. It means that you're subjecting yourself to bullshit. Putting up with pain until you go numb doesn't mean that you're getting stronger. It means that your body and brain is trying to cope with trauma. Now, don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean that there won't be times where you have to endure pain or face discomfort. There's a lot of discomfort when it comes to personal growth. There's a reason why we talk about the pain period when it comes to developing a new skill. And there are going to be a lot of times when life itself will try to beat you down, and you're going to need to be strong enough to get back up and keep moving forward. But there is a difference between the discomfort of pushing past your self-imposed limitations and damaging yourself in the name of being a real man. There is a difference between not giving up when things are hard and hurting yourself or letting yourself be hurt in order to make a point. If you want to improve, if you want to actually get better socially, sexually, emotionally, then the strength that you need isn't the ability to push past the pain, it's to practice self-compassion. The discipline you need to cultivate isn't to put up with Somebody wants to be involved. Hi, buddy. The discipline that you need to cultivate isn't to put up with the unacceptable, it's to fight past the doubt and the negativity and to look to your own progress and ability to grow and improve. And here's the secret. That strength doesn't come from putting yourself through hell. It doesn't come from grinding yourself down until you don't feel anymore. That strength comes from having faith in yourself and your ability to succeed. It comes from seeing things as a challenge that you can overcome. It comes from recognizing how much you are capable of and how amazing you already are. It's about having the courage to love yourself, to believe in yourself, and to strive to be your best self. And while there are lots of ways of doing this, sometimes what you need to do is simply learn how to see the world and yourself differently. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to start finding your strength by training yourself to look to the positive. Now, I freely admit, this is going to sound like woo-woo, feel-good, hippie horse shit. But trust me, there is a point to all of this. Here's how this is going to work. For 1 week, I want you to focus simply on being positive and acknowledging the things that are good about you, your life, and what you've been achieving. And I want you to write them all down. It can be on a notes app on your phone, it could be on a document on your computer, or it could be in a notebook. And honestly, I recommend writing it out by hand. It activates a different part of your brain. However you do it, I want you to write it all out someplace where you can easily go back and reread them. For every day of this week, you are going to pick 3 to 5 positive things to acknowledge about yourself. And they have to be different things each time. If you kicked ass on a project at work today, then the other acknowledgements that you note this day can't be about work. But these acknowledgements have to be about you and what you've accomplished. Do you look particularly sharp today? Write that down. Did you manage to strike up a conversation with somebody new? Write that down. Did you have the courage to ask someone out on a date? Then write that down, regardless of whether they said yes or whether they said no. The fact that you were able to step up and ask is that accomplishment. And these all have to be sincere. Like the exercises in practicing gratitude that I've recommended before, if you are doing this with your eyes rolled, then all you're doing is just wasting your time. Now, I know a lot of you are already having images of this being some stand in front of the mirror repeating Stuart Smiley-esque, "I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn darn it, people like me aphorisms. That's not the point. The point is to get into the habit of paying attention to and acknowledging the things that are awesome about you. To have a record of what you have already achieved and what you're capable of, to remind you of what it is that you can do when you put your mind to it instead of looking to others to drag you back down to reality. At the end of that week, that full 7 days, I want you to go back and read over those compliments and those acknowledgments and those accomplishments. See how it makes you feel to read all of these good things about yourself. If you feel even a little bit better, a little bit more motivated to keep going and work hard, then keep at it. Make this a daily exercise that helps keep you motivated and helps show you how far that you've come. And while you're at it, start paying attention to the people that you're surrounding yourself with, the forums and the subreddits you visit, the Twitter feeds you follow, and just what it is they're bringing into your life. Are they using "I'm just being honest" or giving harsh truths in the name of spreading negativity and abuse? Are they trying to red pill you into believing the worst, either about yourself or about others? Or are they actually providing a real positive influence in your life? This is important because you really are the sum of the people that you spend time with and the communities where you hang out. If those are people or communities that focus on dragging you down, where the brutal honesty is about being brutal and that honesty is never something like "you're amazing," if they're the ones talking about other people being NPCs or the hug box mentality, if all they do is insult people, or they're just busting your balls and breaking others down, then those are people who don't bring value to your life. They are just adding pain and feeding off the negativity, and you are better off without them. If you want to get better, you need to believe in your potential. You need to see the possibility for you to be as amazing as I know you can be. You just have to dare to believe in yourself. You've got this. Hey, thanks for checking out my latest video. So you've heard my advice and now I want to hear from you. Tell me about some of the ways that you have learned to believe in yourself and to find your own strength. Share your story in the comments. I can't wait to read it. I know everybody else can't wait to read it too. And hey, if you have a short dating question or a topic you'd like to hear more about on here, then let me know. You can share that in the comments as well, or you can hit me up and send it to me at doc@drnerdlove.com and put "for YouTube" in the subject header. Meanwhile, if you want to get better at getting numbers and turning them into dates, then check out my newest book, I Got Her Number, Now What? If you have ever had a hard time getting her number, that fear of actually calling or texting, and you want to turn it into a real date, then check it out. This is going to turn texting into your sexy superpower. Links to buy it are in the show notes. And if you do check it out, then do me a huge favor and be sure to rate and review it on Amazon and Goodreads. It's a big, big help. Now, if you're digging the series, you already know what to do. Hit that thumbs up to let me know. Share it around with all your friends. If you are really enjoying these videos, if you feel like you're getting a lot out of it, if you're finding that it's helping and you want to support the channel, then consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/drnerdlove. Even $1 is a huge, huge help. And like I say every week, I can't do this without the support of my patrons. So whether you have just started following me or whether you've been a patron from the beginning, thank you all so very much. Meanwhile, you can follow me on Twitter at @DrNerdLove. You can keep up with the latest news by joining the official Facebook page at facebook.com/drnerdlove. And as always, hit that logo to subscribe, check out my other videos, and I will see you here next time with more about love, sex, and dating. Later.